with the vibe. Vibe operator, get here on the quick. Vibe operator, give them hits after hits. Take it slow on it, baby. Energy is time plus flow. Here is a word to what you need and what you'll come to know. You want a love in your hand. Open up to what is inside of you, deep within you. You gotta listen to the silence. Woo! Woo! Operator with the vibe. I'm operator with the vibe. Come operate.
I've always had straight A's, pain in my face for every party. I won the games I played. I won the games I played. Grew up, found love on a basement floor. I gave him me, but he begged, so I gave him some more. Ain't lost my mind before. I fought that war. Now I don't recognize the old me. She went missing in 2020, but shit, didn't everybody? My heart so brutalized. Love feels cheap, never been one anybody keeps. 22 and already grieving what used to be. Just dance over in the shower. I would call my aunt if I weren't on these nights. Thank God I told my mother there's a girl back from the dead, and I think I could love her. Still hard to wake some days. Count the pills on the shelf like counting nights. I broke down, my head's a self-made hell. I know that place too well. No, I don't recognize the old me. She went missing in 2020, but so did everybody. No, you're not special, baby. In pain, we're just the same, so stop complaining. Screaming like a baby, you're fucking crazy. Shattering daily, all systems failing. Falling, trying to dance over in the shower. I would call
There are some years in your life that are pivotal. When the person you were before undertakes an epic journey to transform into the person you become. New collaborators, new surroundings, new ideas, new skills, new approaches combine into a symphony of new experiences that leave you forever changed in ways that were unimaginable just a few short months ago. And when you look back on all of the moments, all of the hard work, challenges, successes, and setbacks that contributed to this pivotal year, you can take pride in your accomplishments, take advantage of your new skills, recalibrate what's possible, and celebrate your new network of friends and fellow masters.
Hey, how you guys doing? Good, good. My name is Stephen Weber. I'm the Executive Director of BerkleeNYC, and I just want to welcome you guys to our first in-person open house that we've ever had, what with COVID and all. And I also want to welcome everybody online who is joining us from all over the place. And if you have questions, there's a chat going online. We're going to take questions from you guys here in the black box as well as we get going. And yeah, I just want to say how pleased we are to have everybody. We're in our second year now of the master's programs, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the place that we're in right now. This is Power Station Studios. Berkeley took this over about 5 years ago, and we ran it for 14 months as a professional studio. This studio is where, you know, Madonna recorded Like a Virgin, and Cyndi Lauper recorded True Colors, Bruce Springsteen recorded Born in the USA, on and on and on till today. We do all the Broadway cast albums. Hamilton was recorded here. Strange Loop was recorded here. We do a lot of stuff for Disney and Pixar, HBO, Netflix, as well as just tons and tons of musical projects. The Jonas Brothers were just here. John Batiste is here, a whole bunch. So it's a working recording studio. But then we also renovated the whole place and added this place we're in right now, which is the Black Box Theater. This didn't exist before. This was a tape vault. There used to be this stuff that you would record on called tape, and it took up a lot of space, and some of the real boxes were huge, and so you used to have to store that stuff somewhere. This is where it used to get stored. All that stuff has now been digitized, and we have this amazing Black Box Theater that we're going to be broadcasting from today, and you're going to get to know a little bit. This is actually a classroom. This is where a lot of the instruction takes place, and for the live music production and design students, they do a lot of work in here learning about lighting systems, about sound design, about screens, about all the stuff that goes into a modern live music production. We also have a lot of integrated video, and you'll see the video folks around operating cameras, which you know, students do. We actually have interns who were students last year now doing video. We decided when we had this up and running a while ago, you know, for 14 months, we noticed that a lot of the clients who were coming to us to record were also bringing in huge video crews. And it clicked that, you know, in this day and age, if you can't see it, it didn't happen. So we now have 30 cameras, facilities wide. We teach video production. We do a lot of live streaming, and it's really become, you know, a big part of the industry. It's not just a recording studio. It's content creation, right? Content capture. We also built some really cool classrooms that you people who are here with us live will get a tour and get to see these. The Arch, we call one of them the Arch. We call another one the Lighthouse, and those are up on the 3rd floor. Pretty cool facilities. But I want to talk to you about the one-year Master of Arts program that we have. Basically, it is a one-year Master of Arts in Creative Media and Technology. We got to do what people in education are always dying to do and almost never get to do, which is we got to start with a blank sheet of paper. I've been at Berkeley now for 28 years. At the time, I'd been there for like 22 years and was asked to come and just imagine what programs would you put up if you're just starting fresh and wanting to give students something that's going to be as future-proof as possible and really looking towards the future for the careers and the artistry and the jobs that are going to be out there in the future. So that's exactly what we did. And we came up with 3 very forward-looking specializations. The first one being live music production and design. And I'll give you a big just kind of warning right now that not just BerkleeNYC, but Berkeley in general, for some reason, we're just really into acronyms, you know. So, you know, you'll hear everybody talking about MP&E and EPD and CWP. So live music production design, LMPD, it's just the first letter of each thing in the program. And you're going to hear about that in detail from the program director and faculty and students, which should be very cool. Writing and design for musical theater is a very forward-looking program as well that's trying to lift up voices that have traditionally not been heard. This is a super exciting time for Broadway right now with shows like A Strange Loop and the reboot of 1776, which I just went to see last night, that has an all female and femme cast, which is amazing. This is an amazing time for theater and for storytelling in the musical theater genre, and we're trying to really provide a space to lift up voices that have not traditionally been heard. And you'll hear from folks from the Writing and Design Musical Theater program as well. And then finally, last but not least, Songwriting and Production. We have an incredible program in Songwriting and Production that you'll hear about in detail as well. I want to just mention one thing, which is the November 1st is a big date because that is the early action deadline. So if you want to secure your place before all the regular action folks are considered, I highly recommend getting in an application by November 1st. It's a really good thing to do. If you do, you will receive a decision by January 1st, so you can really plan ahead and know what's going to happen in your life the next year. It is a one-year program. It starts very beginning of September, and then it goes, graduation is actually in the very first part of July. This last year it was July 2nd. So that's, you know, kind of gives you the time frame of what's going on. Now, if you don't get an application in by November 1st, the regular action deadline is actually January 15th, and for that you will get a decision by March 15th. But I just want to make you aware of those deadlines. So that's just the opening. Now we're going to start talking about the individual programs, and the first program that we're going to talk about is live music production and design. And so this is going to give you a quick intro, and then you're going to meet the people involved. So take it away, Glenn.
Live music production and design is a one-year degree in the creative and technical aspects of producing live music events.
Live sound.
Live lighting.
Live video.
Live capture.
Live performance.
Not only is it a program teaching technological-based skills, but it's also fostering the creative space and how we can push it even further.
We are weekly challenging ourselves.
Each and every single one of us are artists.
To create something that was never done before.
The Berkeley NYC Classroom is unlike any other place. Here we work beside professionals and study with passionate professors to master the tools and techniques of modern music events.
Live music production and design is a bold next step for performers expanding their stage show with cutting-edge techniques,
Live event professionals sharpening their skills, and creative visionaries breaking into the live event industry.
Hi there, I'm Loudon Stearns, the Program Director for Live Experience Design. We don't need to see the songwriting production slide. I'm Loudon Stearns. I'm the program director for the Live Experience Design program, which is now being transitioned over to being called Live Music Production and Design. So if there's any media out there in the world that you're seeing this as Live Experience Design, same program. We're just changing the name slightly to align with what we're really doing here, which is training professionals to run the lights, the sound, the video that we see here, but really also be thinking about what's the meaning of the music and the art that we're creating and try to express that meaning through all this amazing technology. So the room you're in right now is very much our classroom. It's also our theater. It's also our immersive event space. This is incredibly modular in its functioning, and it's just a really fun place to teach and learn in. And I'm really interested to know a little bit about who is here. Can I see faces here and see what we have here? And I'm curious, who thinks they might be coming from furthest away? Is anyone from as far away as Brooklyn? Okay, is anyone, and the same thing for the online crowd. So one of the things we do here that's amazing is we stream constantly, right? So we're really seeing how everything we do has an audience in person, but it also has an audience around the world, right? This setup that we have here is like every Friday, right? We break this down, we set up, we stream constantly. So for everyone that's watching online, please type in where you're from, right? And let's see who can be furthest away. So we have someone as far as Brooklyn. Anyone further than that? Who is further away from that here? Where are you from? Europe? Anyone further? Peru? Fantastic. From Colombia. So who do we think is furthest? Is it probably Peru? Fantastic. What's your name? Oh, from China. We have, there you go, what's your name? Juan? Yeah. It's great to have you here. What program are you thinking or are you interested in, are you looking at?
Film scoring.
Film scoring? Yeah. Fantastic. We don't have a film scoring degree here on this campus.
I also am a
Keyboardist. Fantastic. We're producing shows in here all the time, and we're looking at the ways that shows are being produced now. And the great thing is this program changes once every year. Right? It's a one-year program that you're here for, and we get to adapt to the changing needs of the world every year. And so when we talk about live music production, we're talking about there's always two audiences. There's the one in front of you and the one remote. And I'm curious who's furthest away on the chat. I'm sure it's amazing from all over the world, which is great. We're always thinking of two audiences. We're thinking of in-ear monitors, live auto-tune, automatically changing the technology, the patches for keyboard players automatically changing with each song. All the technology is happening right now in concert production is what we're just practicing every week. And it's kind of an amazing space. I've been loving having the opportunity to rethink what we teach every year because it's just an amazing opportunity. So live music production and design, we tend to focus on like a couple categories of technology. So we're looking at lighting. We're looking at spatial audio. This room itself has 28 speakers plus subs behind the screen there, and we can make sound come from all around this room, and we explore that. We're talking about the videos, right? So we have this fantastic screen behind us that's divided off into sections, so we can look and we can explore it, how content is created for screens like this, which is a standard in arenas, and also interactions on stage, right? So how all these things are connected. You mentioned keyboards. So often we have a musical director in theater that's triggering from their station, making everything happen in the whole room, and that's the kind of interactions we're exploring all the time. The arc of our program, this can be intimidating. Right? So as I describe all this stuff, I think for people coming into this, it seems intimidating. There's a lot of technology, but the fact is we can start at a very base level and teach this stuff very quickly. It seems intimidating, but when you have access to the equipment, you realize it's a couple basic concepts. Communication is the biggest one. How are all these various devices connected? And when we start this program, we don't really expect you to have any prior experience in these things. We're looking for a broad excitement about live experiences. We're looking into people that really want to create amazing experiences on stage, and we start at a very low level in all of the categories. On Friday, yesterday, we had this set up like a coffee shop. We built a PA in the room, and everyone in my program learned how to communicate well as a team, and learned how to run a small PA. So we don't start expecting everyone knows all this stuff. This is where we kind of end up, where we get to. Because we really want people that are from all different types of backgrounds. And I'm going to bring up Joey Morrow. He's one of our amazing professors here on campus. He's our lighting design professor. He also teaches our projection design classes, and he's hugely important in all of our events. And Joey, can you talk about like the students that really succeed here? So the type of students that succeed well in our program.
Yeah, hi, great to see everyone today and all of you out there on the internets. Welcome. Yeah, what's exciting about our program is that we're not expecting you, like Loudon was saying, to know everything about what it is that we have here. We're expecting you to come in with curiosity about integrating all of that and learning a lot of different skill sets and putting them together. So you could come in as a studio artist who's never done anything with lighting, never done anything with sound, but has a passion for storytelling and creating, and will help foster those other skills to create a cohesive and collaborative whole. And that's the other exciting thing. You're in the program with Songwriting and Production and Musical Theater. So there are all these crossover opportunities to work with like-minded artists and create something together, because when you're creating something together, other departments, other artists, or even with people on your own team, that's where you can really create something special, by recognizing those other skills and those other opportunities to build something.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Joey. What are you looking for in just a student that's entering? Like what are you looking for in that person?
Totally. I'm looking for that exploration and drive to figure out what's possible. We have people that come in that have, like I was saying, some experience in one area, but then just figure out what is the next step, right? If you're a VJ and you're looking to learn more about live production, integrating lighting, right? Having that part of your vocabulary, but really understanding how it affects what you do. What is the live scene that you're working on, right? Where should the audience be? Where should the stage be? How do we make that work for the best experience in the audience? How do you film it, as Stephen was saying, because everything is filmed, everything has to be captured, and that's your online presence. And so, also, as Stephen was saying, the really exciting thing is we get to start with a blank slate. And every year is a new year. There's no, this is the way it's always been done and we have to do it that way. No, we're looking at what's actively happening in the real world and figuring out not where that is now, but what's the next step, and being there first and coming up with the next great way to produce live events.
Speaking of the next step, so we talked about the student coming in, what we expect. Where does a student end up at the end? So in all of our 3 programs, there is a CE, or culminating experience, a thesis for every student. What are some examples of where we end up?
Yeah, so there's a CE, or like a thesis presentation at the end of your master's program, which you get to defend. And so in the beginning, we start with giving you a whole bunch of information. You learn a lot of different areas, a lot of different things, and then you work together with that information on a bunch of projects, shows, concerts, experiences. And then in the 3rd semester, it's now your turn, right? You take everything you've learned from each other and from the information that we provide and make a project. And so that's been everything from domed projection mapping, spatial audio concerts, actually producing concerts in New York, in Brooklyn, having an invited audience, and putting together all those skills and things you've done so far.
Thank you so much, Joey. That's a great kind of overview of what we have. And that brings me to, I'm going to bring out Adai Song, who's a graduate fellow. So some people do stay on and keep supporting us. Adai, come on out. Adai was a songwriting, give her a hand. Of course she needs it.
Hi.
Adai was an amazing songwriting and production student that worked with us all last year. And can you tell us a little bit about your experience? Did you enjoy it? What kind of things did you create while you were here?
Of course. Do you remember? Don't you remember the commencement performance that I had right here, which is like, the best memory of the whole year. And
it was the best song of the whole year.
Yeah? Thanks.
So Adai stayed on and was an amazing student on campus and a kind of a community organizer and supported everyone here on campus so well. And now she's working with us to support our core curriculum. So you'll notice that every student here on campus is going to get 1 degree. It's a master in the creative arts and media technology. Creative Media and Technology, CMAT. And we have a core curriculum with this amazing CMAT class that Adai is supporting us on. Can you tell us a little bit about the CMAT curriculum?
Well, it's a core curriculum that it's an integrated class that combining audio, visual, and social media and branding, these 3 modules. And as an extension of the class, I'm also hosting a social media workshop that helps students craft short videos. In short, how to best post on Instagram and TikTok.
So if you're a producer, why is it important to have those skills? Why do we make that part of our core?
Well, personally, I sold songs because I post social media. And just in general, you know, we've already invested so much as artists, as producers, as, you know, back-end, you know, music workers that, you know, we're good artists. And then good artists need to be seen. So just like any industry, after you have a good product, you need to advertise it. So social media is a good way to advertise it. And, you know, if you decide it later, if you have a good number, then you can decide if you want to sign with a big label. Actually, it's not you decide. Like, they will chase after you if a good number of followers, which is in the real world, that's how it works. And then even if you don't want to go that route, you just want to be like a very indie and very niche artist for your own fans, you need to let them find you. So present yourself well on social media actually helps.
Sure, thank you so much. In that Cmat class, we're covering the basics of audio, also covering how to brand yourself, how to present yourself, how to move. And what do you walk away with at the end of that curriculum?
Well, very practical things. You will have professional photo shoot, and then the way you, and then your personal branding, your sense of style or your sense of fashion that comes with your music, and also how to post TikTok and Instagram.
Super useful. Thank you so much for coming out, Adai. We'll have Adai out later for Q&A at the end of the whole session, along with me, and we'll be able to ask a ton of questions. I'm sure things are already bubbling up. Thank you so much, Adai. I'll let you off the stage.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. That's great. All right, Adai. So, again, we have 3 programs: live music production and design, writing design for musical theater, and now I'd like to introduce the Songwriting and Production teaser video and bring the Songwriting and Production team out to talk a little bit about that program.
Students from the Songwriting and Production Master's Program enter the industry with a whole network of collaborators.
We have students in this program from all over the world.
All these different people from diverse backgrounds working towards a common goal.
I was actually blown away by the breadth of talent.
Insanely amazing, magical experience, meeting some of the coolest people on the planet.
It's just this gorgeous amalgamation of creativity.
We've created a curriculum from scratch that reflects how songs are being created today.
We have classes focusing on songwriting, vocal production, electronic production for songwriters, top lighting, collaboration, mixing, and how to more effectively tell a story.
All of our faculty are in the field right now at a high and competitive level.
People who have worked on music videos and people who have worked in production, music directing, mixing incredible songs that are on the Billboard Hot 100.
This city is a haven for artists pursuing their wildest dreams.
If you can make it in New York, right, they say you can make it anywhere.
We felt like we were like on top of the world.
The industry is all right here in New York.
And be able to step immediately into working professionally in New York City. That's an opportunity you just don't get anywhere else.
Hey, how's everyone doing? Great to see you all here, and wonderful to see everyone who's joining us remote. Thank you for being here. I'm Marilee James. I'm program director for the Songwriting and Production program, and I am really lucky because I get to show up every day at literally my favorite place in the world. You could give me a plane ticket and say, like, you can go to Bora Bora, you can go to Costa Rica. I'd be like, nope, I want to be here at BerkleeNYC because it truly is just a magical place. And what I see happening in classrooms and in hallways and, you know, just at the lunch table is truly inspiring. Who here is, you know, in our physical audience is interested in SMP, Songwriting and Production? All right. Nice, cool. And what about we'd love to get, you know, in the chat going, folks that are remote, people who are interested in the Songwriting and Production program, really like to get get to know you guys. I am just one part of a wonderful team which makes up the Songwriting and Production program, and I'm really excited to have them here with us today. So I'd like to first introduce Arun Pandian, who is our Assistant Program Director. Give it up. Arun, got his start playing with someone you might know of, Lauryn Hill, on the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. He played guitar. Does anyone know the song "Tell Him"? Tell him I love. He played guitar on that. We were like blasting it in the office the other day. Toured on that worldwide tour, and now he's an incredible producer, mix engineer, has a super cool studio in Dumbo that we sometimes have parties at, and has worked with people like Mumford and Sons and Nora Jones and Melody Gardot, and it's just also just generally like a super cool, awesome guy to be around and work with. So, Arun. And then I'd like to introduce our incredible faculty member, Thavius Beck. You saw Thavius. Give it up. Yeah. Thavius is just one of those faculty members that people are sort of like walking on air when they come out of his classroom and have learned a billion new techniques. He like kind of plants these Easter eggs all throughout the class, and you're like, I would have never thought to do it that way. And we're so lucky to have him on campus. He's also worked with Skylar Gray, the Mars Volta, 9 Inch Nails, just incredibly prolific and successful artist in the field as well. Next, I want to introduce our grad fellow, Justin Guswell. Justin was in the Songwriting and Production program last year and just blew us away. You can find him under the moniker Blinking Objects, but it is spelled BLNKG. Thank you. We don't need vowels. He's so amazing. He doesn't need vowels, but he just did incredible work last year. Now we loved him so much. We wanted him to be our grad fellow, and I'm looking forward to you hearing some more about his time here. So, what is the Songwriting and Production program? Well, it's an integrated approach to the creation of modern music through advanced production techniques, collaboration, and technology-aided songwriting. What does that mean? That means we looked at how music is being created right now, and it's a lot different than it was 30, 40 years ago. And so we have made a bespoke, very intense program for you to get these very important skills in songwriting, collaboration, and technology, all in this 1 year, and be able to go out into the industry really as a competitive member of the songwriting and producer industry. I always say, like, you come in as a student, and we really want you to leave as our colleagues. So one of the most important things that you will do in the program is develop your voice, your artistic voice, your X factor, the thing that is going to make you the first call on everyone's phone when they need a writer and producer. People are going to drag you to the top of their Spotify playlist because your song just has that thing that they can't get enough of, and you're going to have a tremendous amount of support fostering that, workshopping, all these elements. And I'd love to toss this to Thavius, who really has helped a lot of our students with this, to talk a bit more about it.
Thank you very much, Marilee. What's up, everybody that's here live? And hello to everybody in the interwebs. What's going on? So, Songwriting and Production. If you're interested in coming to a place like this, I'm imagining you already have ideas about melodies and songs and lyrics and whatnot that you want to craft. But the most important thing, I think, is what is the story that you want to tell? What's the emotional content that's going to pull your listeners in and make them really connect with what you have to say? It's not so much just about like being the most technically proficient or the most amazing person who can play like all these notes really fast. Because with all that, you might lose a lot of nuance, right? That makes people connect to how should I feel, right? Does this relate to an experience that I can connect to? Is there some piece of myself that I can hear in this person's song? Is there something unique and interesting that this person's bringing to the table that I haven't really heard delivered this way? You know, there's not really anything new under the sun, right? The whole idea of there only being 12 notes. So ultimately, what do you do with these techniques and these concepts to funnel your own experience and bring that truly to your audience, right? That's what discovering your own artistic vision is about. So a lot of the songwriting and production class, we're using Ableton Live. We're talking about nonlinear production, which allows you to work in a more free-form kind of way. You don't have to commit to ideas so quickly. But most importantly, it gives you the chance to experiment with different combinations, to produce in a more playful and adventurous and, using more exploration to end up at unique points. So that's what I really want to instill in everybody. It's not so much just about the technology. It's not so much just about how well you can play, but what do you have to say? And how can we effectively translate those ideas from your head into your instrument of choice? So I'm looking forward to all of you who are interested. If you take your interest a bit further, you'll be in a class with me. And we'll have a lot of fun. I'll be pushing you to find your own voice. And to do that creatively, effectively, and without shame or judgment or reservation, right? That's what it's all about. So hopefully I'll see some of your faces next year. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you, Thavius. Another huge cornerstone of our program is collaboration. Music is being created now in a highly collaborative way, and this is a place for you to build those lifelong collaborators. I went to Berkeley undergrad many a year ago, and that was really where I met my network for life. And we still crash on each other's couches and call each other when we're having a hard time, and also are making music, a decade later on a pretty regular basis. So Justin, who just met a whole bunch of collaborators, I'd love to know a little more firsthand what that was like for you.
Sure. So yeah, for me personally, the collaborative element was a huge part of what appealed this program to me. My background is largely in collaboration. Most of what I've been doing creatively in the last decade before coming here was collaborating with not only musicians, but artists of all kinds. So that collaborative element was something I was really looking forward to, and thankfully there were lots of opportunities within the program and outside the program to do so. And through that, we developed not only a lot of really cool music, a lot of different kinds of performances, but a great community as well. That was, I think, generally most students from last year agreed that the community was what really shaped their experience the most. So ultimately, with the program, or sorry, with the project that I ended up working on, it was highly collaborative. I worked with a lot of different vocalists and different artists, and they helped me put off not only a recorded set of music, but a performance that was audio-visual. So artists of all kinds coming together, working to make something that is going to be probably larger and more ambitious than you might anticipate when you first come in. But there's definitely going to be a lot of room to do something like that. And you'll find that through these collaborations, you're going to end up doing something much larger and more grand than you maybe would have originally anticipated. So huge fan of collaboration.
Nice. Thank you, Justin. And then, of course, we are really focused on giving you cutting edge technology skills as they are applicable to how music is being created right now in the world. And I'd love, Arun, if you could talk a little more about that.
So as I believe Stephen mentioned earlier, this used to be the tape storage facility. So as you know, the technology and art of making music has changed significantly throughout the years. And what we do in this program is take a holistic approach to making music, combining great songwriting, production, and arrangement, and then teaching you modern techniques to stay at the cutting edge of the industry standards that are currently being used to make music essentially on computers and your laptops.
Awesome. Yeah, so many times now it's like a song is being created in New York, but then sent to Miami and going into a different DAW and then going to LA, and that person needs to overdub their vocals on it. And so we really want to give you the skills to be really flexible and competitive and be able to walk out of here and be making, music that can compete with the Hot 100. Love to talk with you a bit about our core classes. So every time I talk about the classes, I feel jealous that I'm not a student here because every single one of these classes is so exciting to me and just, full of gems. So I'm going to talk about a few and then I'll hand it to my colleagues here to talk about some more. So the first is your seminar class. This is where we all get together every week and talk about really some big picture items, topics that are going to help you in your career. So this year, we started with sound fundamentals, and then we're going into branding. You get a photo shoot and styling with this amazing stylist and choreographer we have who's really going to help each person identify what it is that's special about them, that they can bring out to their audience, but that will also make them feel comfortable, and that's something you can really carry with you sustainably. Then we get into video editing, as has been being talked about so much, already today. Visuals is the name of the game. Syncing your audio with the video is really going to do you well. So we're going to give you some video skills and Final Cut, and then go into content creation and talk about how we can interface with social media as artists. We also have our Entrepreneurship and Business class, which happens second semester, and this is going to give you some really practical, applicable information and workshopping on being a musician, an artist, and producer using business practices today, like as small as what is it? When do I bring out the split sheet in a collaboration? And as big as building your business plan. I'm going to talk a little bit now about our songwriting classes. So we have the Craft of Songwriting, which is a really fantastic class that is all about the really kind of tested and true nuts and bolts skills that you get when that you apply when you make a really effective song. So everything from lyrics to melody to pacing to rhythm. That's kind of the class I compare to like you're sharpening your knives and tools in your garage and feeling really confident with writing songs. And then you go into principles of collaboration where it's all about collaborating, about what makes a good collaborator, the different roles of collaborators, the beat maker, the top liner, the producer, just the song guardian that gets the song from the beginning to the end. And that's a really fantastic class, and I saw a great amount of wonderful songs come from it last year. The second semester, we have a songwriting workshop, which is looking at how your productions and your songs fit together, because so often now songs are being written at the same time they're being produced. They're not just two separate worlds, and we're really embracing that in this program. So this workshop is really looking at like, okay, are you saying, are you conveying what you want with your production? Does it match what your lyrics are saying? Have you just stacked 100 tracks on here because it was kind of a weak song and you actually really need to just go back and rework the song, and then the production will become much more clear to you? So those are the sorts of things we look at in that class. And electronic production is Thavius's whole bag. It is such a cool class, and I'd love for you to talk about that, Thavius.
Well, thank you very much. I will. So electronic production for songwriters, I had the pleasure of writing the entire curriculum for this. There's actually 2 classes, there's 2 semesters, I should say. So the first semester, this class is all taught using Ableton Live. And I want to make it clear, a lot of people come into this program using Logic and other tools, which is completely fine. We're not here to try to force you to use something else. But Ableton Live is the industry standard for a lot of different reasons, mainly because you can use the same program to write a song, to produce, to play live. It's used by many, many people. They use it extensively as an MD for other artists to set up their stems on stage live. So during the first semester, we learn about using Ableton Live and nonlinear production and how to effectively use certain aspects of the program to write a song. There's multiple songs you're going to write throughout the semester. So after that first module, where we're doing something pretty basic with Ableton Live, understanding how to use some of the basic instruments there, we move into creating your own sounds. One of the big things that I notice in a lot of sessions with producers is scrolling endlessly through sound packs looking for presets. And I want to try to get everyone out of that mindset as soon as possible and get everyone focused on these little small changes that you might hear when you scroll through 1,000 different preset kick samples. Those are things you could easily just do yourself if you understand what's being changed, right? So thinking more at the heart of the sound, understanding how to create or tweak certain things based on what you hear instead of hoping that you can find someone who's done it for you, that's a big part of the focus as well. In the second semester, we dive into more advanced topics in terms of manipulating and warping audio more extensively. A big part of this is helpful in terms of thinking about using Ableton Live not just to make typical EDM, right, but to be able to add electronic components to any style of music you may want to make. We have artists who come and want to do things that are more folk-based, more typical singer-songwriter stuff, and may not initially understand how a program like Ableton Live can help them. But again, it's not about forcing the technology on what you want to do. It's about understanding how you can take advantage of it to express what you want to say. So that's a big focal point, is that we want to help people express themselves and find ways that the technology can aid you individually. All right, so as long as people come and are prepared to share and let us know what they want to do, these programs, these classes specifically, will help you express yourself much more efficiently and creatively. So.
Great. I always love sitting in on that class. I learned so much. Cool. Arun, could you talk to us about DNA of Styles?
Yes, I'd love to. This is one of the coolest offerings in the program, I think. You get to deconstruct popular songs and learn what makes them tick, essentially. You will learn to copy them at a competitive level, from like the sonic palette to the production to the arrangement, and then you will apply them and the techniques that you've learned and the secrets you've learned to your own music in an innovative way. And next, I'd like to talk about advanced vocal production. This is where you will learn to record, edit, comp a great vocal take. You will learn how to get a great performance from yourself and from people that you are working with in the studio or in your bedroom. And then you will learn some vocal processing techniques, dynamic processing, effects, tuning, things that you can use to take that vocal to the next level to compete at an industry standard. And finally, the culmination of all this is mixing and mastering. And the great thing about this program is, because you're learning the songwriting, production, and arrangement, like I've mentioned, making a great mix becomes a lot easier. So in this class, we focus on achieving great mix balances. Balances in areas like frequency, volume, imaging, transient attack, and focus. Thank you.
Sweet. All right, and then we have so many amazing electives. And the great thing about these electives is they are open to, almost all of them are open to anyone in any program. So I'm going to just run through them. If one really catches your eye, feel free to make note of it and ask about it in the question and answer. But we've got hip hop production, EDM production techniques, music video production, essential engineering for creatives, which is in Studio G upstairs, learning how to use the studio, DJ turntable techniques, the art and technique of freestyle rap, an incredible new class we're offering this year, advanced digital arranging and production, that's using controllers on stage to create your show, movement and style, learning how to present yourself on stage, 3D design for live events, computer programming for interactive events, and principles of spatial audio and VJ techniques, getting visuals going with your show. So those are some really, really fun ways to fill out your schedule with things you're really interested in. All of these classes are meant to support your culminating experience. And your culminating experience is a really, really exciting opportunity for you to work on a project that you're really, really passionate about for the entire year, get support on it, and then walk away from this program with that to show the world. So that could look like an EP or an album, but we're also going to challenge you to present it in an innovative way. So we had folks doing augmented reality with their music last year, immersive experiences, really, really technically advanced live shows. And this is also just a great way for you to kind of set up your next year for when you leave the master's program. We have people that got such a great collection of singles in their culminating experience that they graduated, and now for the whole next year, they have a song to release every 6 weeks with video, with music video and promo video and lyric video, and they're kind of set for the year, and so now they can be working on their next thing. So the culminating experience is a really big part of the program, and that's what you present at the very end. And Justin, I would love, as someone who just did a culminating experience, could you tell us a little bit? You just released one of the songs.
I did indeed.
What's it called again?
It's called Choose.
It's kind of my jam a little bit.
It's a jam.
Actually,
jam.
quite a lot of it. What was it like doing your culminating experience?
Sure, yeah. So for me, my culminating experience started as a tiny idea that then through the year became a large idea. But thankfully, through all the collaborations that I was doing, I was able to materialize a lot of the ideas that I had. And maybe finally it didn't end up being what I thought it was going to be at the beginning. But that was okay, because as I was learning things, as I was meeting people, as I was working on all sorts of different projects, it became clear to me like what I wanted my culminating experience to be, and how I could make that into something much larger and more ambitious than it started out to be. And ultimately, it really helped me have an avenue to put into place or put into practice everything I was learning, and to very much help define my own artistic identity.
Great. Yeah, and I think that's a great thing Justin mentions is, sure, there's a lot of things we can do on our own, and a lot of learning resources we can find to learn things on our own, but it's really difficult to build your entire artistic identity in a vacuum. And to be in an environment that's nurturing and supportive, where you can constantly be workshopping ideas and throwing paint at the wall and kind of seeing what sticks, and getting that constant support to lead you into picking up your clicker, is really special. And what I saw last year was just like exponential growth, like what you might expect someone to do in 10 years, doing in 1 year and presenting it at the end. And that was really, really special to see. Our faculty, I already spoke about Arun and Thavius. Arun also does a little teaching for us and has some very, very popular classes. We focus on bringing faculty on who are out in the industry, making music at a competitive level, really in the mix, as we would say, and bringing that back into the classroom. So, just this year we have Senia Rubinos, who had a Tiny Desk concert recently. It was written up by the New York Times. Julie Catherine, when I interviewed her, I totally had a fangirl moment because I realized she built the Ableton pack Drive and Glow, which is like my favorite Ableton pack. I was like, you made that? And so we've just got people really doing interesting things in the industry and bringing those directly into the classroom. All right, so why should you apply? So we talked about that November 1st deadline. We get some really, I've noticed some really special applicants in this early action period, and really encourage you to get that in so we can start listening to your music. It's one of my favorite things I get to do as part of this role, is getting to go through your portfolio. What you're gonna get from this program is you're gonna be in New York creating in this amazing scene. You're gonna be building roots that you can continue growing after the program. Grow in a supportive and nurturing environment. It's an intense year, but it's very supportive. Master the most current industry techniques. Collaborate with a diverse array of talented artists. We've got just the coolest cohort from all over the world. Wonderful, wonderful people. And the collaborations I see come out of it are just incredible. Define your clear artistic identity and get a tremendous amount of support in doing that. Build a strong network in your field. You always want a couch to be able to crash on, very important. And develop a competitive portfolio, which is your CE, which you can bring with you into the world after this program. So thank you so much for letting us talk about songwriting and production. We really hope to see some of you around the school, in classrooms, and we'll be really happy to answer questions at the end of this. And thank you so much, Justin, Thavius, and Arun. All right, thanks everyone. We have another incredible program, Writing and Design for Musical Theater. It is just mind-blowing what comes out of this program, and I'd love for you to take a look at what that program, Day in the Life, can look like in that program.
Writing and Design for Musical Theater is a new program for writers who are passionate about telling stories with words and music.
The storytellers coming out of the program are going to change the industry.
To really reimagine how they think about creating.
Everyone is coming from such a diverse experience set.
People that have been in shows that are dancers and performers, singer-songwriters, arrangers, composers.
In 1 year, students will complete the first draft of an original musical.
Writing lyrics, composing, writing book, collaboration with designers, projection designers, lighting designers, sound designers.
Having the students go into a community as a collaborator.
It was really interesting to see the beautiful things that would come out of these collaborations, and we started to learn what our own voices were.
The faculty are full of people who are currently doing incredible work.
I actually get to teach alongside some of my musical theater writing heroes.
We are constantly in the center of what is happening now, and we have the ability to bring in other working professionals to share their knowledge with the students.
Being here in New York City, we are in the heart of the theater community.
You're living and working and learning in the epicenter of musical theater.
You can walk out into the community out here and see what the future is.
I know I'm going to take so many of these people along with me as I continue my journey out into the world, and I'm really excited.
Wow, that was really exciting. Hi everyone, I want to go to that program. Hi everyone, my name is Dan Marshall, and I'm a faculty member in the Writing and Design for Musical Theater department here at Berkeley NYC. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for joining us. Those of you who are here live, those of you who are live streaming, hi everyone, thanks for being here. We're going to quickly talk about this amazing experience, Writing and Design for Musical Theater, spending a year here in the theater district in New York City, the center of the musical theater universe, so to speak, creating an original musical as part of this remarkable master's program. So I'm going to go through my little slide. Oh, I think I popped it already there. Did I? Oh, no, I need to go back. My gosh. This is what I
There we go. So when we think about who an ideal candidate is for writing and design for musical theater, we think about people who have a passion for stories that sing. This is the essence of what musical theater is. And by the way, is anyone here specifically interested in applying for WDMT this year? Anyone in the live stream? Hi, everyone. This program draws onto itself composers, lyricists, librettists, songwriters, people from a diverse background of creative interests. Musical theater is an amalgam of different artistic interests, and we bring them together, and in the room where it happens, as they say in Hamilton, we pop out an original first draft of a brand new baby musical in 1 year, and it is a singular program in that pursuit. I know of no other program in the world, a graduate level program, where in the course of 1 year, you go from the germ of an idea to a completed first draft of a musical. So it's a very exciting place to be, and it's full of this electric energy. So you should apply if you are a creative storyteller who has a passion for lyrical storytelling. When you're here as part of WDMT, what will you experience? What a great question. So you will have the opportunity to energize your storytelling with words and music. If you come here purely as a composer, if you come here as a words person, you're able to find a collaborator. You're able to develop your skills in music writing and lyric writing and the book writing, the interstitial dialogue, the scenes that create the part of the musical that is not sung. You'll find your artistic voice. We spend so much time in this program excavating the self, calling upon our own personal journey to create songs and stories that are a reflection of the diverse community that these artists come from. You're going to collaborate. Whether you collaborate for your final culminating experience musical or whether you collaborate in a week-to-week basis with a different artist, you're going to fine-tune this muscle. You're going to build a muscle of collaboration that you're going to be able to take out of this program and into the industry with you. You're going to find theater designers and directors and leaders in the industry. This, as you can tell, is a remarkable facility. There is really nothing else like this in New York City, where you can create the germ of an idea, as I mentioned, for a new musical, and then you can actually have it almost completely realized in this space by the end of the year. You've got all of this remarkable technology at your fingertips and available to you. And we are working with faculty members who are leaders in this industry, of course. As I mentioned, we're steps away from the theater district here in New York. Our faculty, these are, I think I said in that video, these are some of my legendary theater-making heroes. And for me, I just wish I could get in my hot tub time machine, go back, and I could take all of these classes. I just want to audit everything because they're these remarkable people. We have Rona Siddiqui, who is currently the music director of the Best Musical Tony Award-winning A Strange Loop. We have Michael Starobin, a 2-time Tony Award-winning orchestrator who's teaching here. We have Julie Anwick Davis, our program director, whose new musical Trevor is now streaming on Disney+. Everyone who teaches, Marcy Heisler, Fei Chow, so many remarkable writers who are so immersed in the day-to-day life of what it means to be a songwriter with aspirations for Broadway. So you're here with industry professionals. You're learning from all of them. Everyone in this building is a self-starter to some degree, and we're going to help you find ways to continue to build a career that you can be proud of. And then, lifelong collaborators. Gotta check that one out there. You'll find a team of collaborators that you can spend a career creating musical theater with. And I think that that's, for me, the most exciting part, because musical theater doesn't happen in a vacuum. It creates a community wherever it goes, and you're building this community, here. I say to the students in the first day of my class, we need to be open to the possibility that in this room sit people who are capable of, in collaboration, making your wildest dreams come true, right? So, how will you learn? I'm so glad you asked. You know, this program is divided into sort of three sections. It's a 3-semester program. In the fall, what we're doing right now with our current class is I think of this as sort of musical theater archaeology. We are mining different sources for this original culminating experience musical. So we're looking at public domain adaptation ideas. We're looking at stories from ourselves, historical figure adaptation. And during this time, we're studying, you know, what are the tropes, what are the standard narrative strategies for creating a musical. We're learning about song form in musical theater, how that differentiates from what Marilee was just describing and her team in Songwriting and Production. The craft of lyric writing, which, you know, popular songwriting, musical theater songwriting, they're certainly cousins. We can learn a lot from each other. There are some idiosyncratic differences, and you know, we're here to learn what those differences are. Sometimes we learn what the differences are to submit to them, and sometimes we learn what the differences are to subvert them, right? We're always trying to find that sweet spot. We hold those ideas in tension. So then we have creative media and technology for musical theater writers, which you'll learn how to promote your work. You'll learn how to make your work kind of shine on your own. It is, you know, it is a hustler's profession. All of this work, you know, we're charged with putting our work out into the world and finding ways to make it to shine a spotlight on it for ourselves. So you'll learn that. In musical theater seminar, you'll be working with our program director, Julianne McDavis, to kind of outline what it means to be a collaborator in this highly, highly collaborative profession. And then this avalanche of exciting electives, devised theater, engineering for songwriters, compositional techniques for songwriting. There's so much going on in the fall. And then in the spring, we've decided what our original musical, the subject for our original musical, we've decided if we're working with a collaborator or not. And what we then do is we are immersed in the creation of that musical for that entire spring semester. Again, we're back with book writing, but now everything is kind of in the funnel, heading toward the completed CE culminating experience musical. So for us, that's, again, we're bringing in scenes, songs, everything points toward the first draft of this new musical. And then in the spring, I'm sorry, that was the spring. In the summer, what we then finalize is the realization of this dream that is starting right now in the minds and the imaginations of all of our students, culminates in the summer semester with the completion of the first draft of this musical, pitching the musical to leaders in the industry, to theaters, to agents, to directors, to producers. Showcasing your musical for the entire industry in this very room. It's a thrilling, thrilling couple of weeks when we do that. And then planning for what's next. And I'm going to bring out some exciting people in a moment who are going to tell you how that's going for them. And then finally, why should you apply? Because I like to think of the American musical as sort of moving into what I'd like to call a second golden age. There's so much that's possible in the world of musical theater right now, and oops, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. All right, there we go. There's so much going on right now in the world of musical theater that these are stories that can be really about anything, that can be a pure extrapolation of your own lived experience in a way that's thrilling. A lot of the old barriers to production are coming down with new technology, with social media, but also in terms of like what the diverse voices that can be showcased in a musical. So it's a thrilling time to be a part of this industry, and you're here again right at the center of all of it. And to experience the electricity of this place, of BerkleeNYC, where everyone is just fine-tuning their craft. Everyone is becoming one of the, going from being a remarkable artist to being an artist of true distinction. It's a wonderful place to be. The hallways here are alive with the spirit of everybody kind of in this moment of creation, whether it's in WDMT, songwriting and production, live experience design. There's so much going on. There's so much cross collaboration between the departments. And again, finally, as I was saying, you're joining this community of artists in a career that, if you're starting your career in musical theater writing here at BerkleeNYC, you know that it's just going to continue to expand and unfold the whole time. So thank you so much. I want to bring out some very special guests. I want to first bring out Lexi, Valero, and DJ Hendricks. And then followed by Michelle Rocket. Come on out, everyone. Hi. I'm going to let you guys go that away, and I'll go over here. Hi, Michelle. Well, thank you so much for being here. So, Lexi and DJ, I wanted to chat with you. You were members of the inaugural class here. Last year, you graduated in July. Was it July? Yeah, I was there. It was a really exciting day. And I wanted to just kind of talk about your culminating experience musical and the thrill that we all experienced getting to witness your showcase and watch that unfold from a very early idea to something that has proven to be, has a lot of legs, as they like to say. Can you talk to us about A Great Day in Harlem?
Sure. So, hello. Again, I'm DJ Hendricks, and
oh, I'm Lexi Valero.
Our musical A Great Day in Harlem is a jazz show because we're both two big jazz nerds. And we came up with the idea very quickly. It's based on a famous photo of a bunch of famous jazz artists in 1958. And I have it as my desktop background. Lexi saw it. We had an inside joke saying, you can pointing at basically anything, saying you can make a musical of that. And we pointed at the picture, and then we said, wait a minute. You actually could make a musical of that. And so we went through the process of meeting different people throughout the first semester, writing with them, collaborating, and we still kind of came back to each other afterwards and was like, yeah, let's make this musical, and I'll let you take care of it.
Yeah, and we had a basic structure of the photo because we did a bunch of research to start off, since it's historical fiction. And so that gave us a great bare bones structure, an idea of themes and why it's timely now. I mean, it's Harlem in the civil rights era and a bunch of black jazz musicians and talking about the community. But the process of being in the program really helped us give shape to it because we were basically bringing in work every single week and giving feedback. And we started off by everyone just kind of sharing the bare bones structure, the themes, what they want to talk about, and who we are and as artists and what we're trying to accomplish. But getting outside perspectives week after week as people, our program learns and loves the show as we are writing it along the way. So we now have this group of 20 people who are intimately acquainted with our show, and we'll be able to continue to, and professors like Dan, who can continue to advise, and we can just text we have this idea for a song, what do you think? And since they're familiar with this project we love, we can go forward and have a community around us.
It's the community piece. You're creating the musical in the context of this community, and that continues on afterward. I think that's really lovely. Now, the two of you had a remarkable experience with the showcasing of A Great Day in Harlem here in the Black Box. Can you kind of walk us through what that experience was like, and then the excitement that followed?
Yeah, I mean, to start, in Dan's class at one point we did an exercise where we wrote, I believe it was your class, a review as if our musical had already debuted, where we wanted to debut, and who the personnel were and what critics would say about it, to kind of set our goals. And the director that we had listed for that ended up being our showcase director. So that was amazing that we got our dream director right out the gate. His name is Lee Summers. DJ can talk more about him because they've continued to work together since we graduated. But the showcase, I mean, the school generously provided casting for us, and our job was, okay, so we ended up with 113 pages of material. So how do we condense all of that into a 20-minute movie trailer version of our show that people can come see? We get all the background of who the characters are, what they want, and still get to the action of the story with that little frame of time. So we basically made like a track list and a plot points thing and filled in the structure from there. But I think it really came to life when the actors came into play. It was so magical seeing something we'd been sitting in each other's studios and in classrooms talking about, and then hearing it in the mouths of actors and the hands of our amazing music director, Rachel Dean, too. Like, she's an accompanist for Hamilton, and she came in and was like, I love this music. You guys are doing a great job. And that was incredibly validating. And also just now we have this amazing recording of our work. I'll let you talk on more of it, though.
Yeah, it was, the process of it was going back to what you're talking about how do we condense all of that material, which is 113 pages. Like that's a lot of material for a musical. And so we eventually landed on kind of not just doing a truncated version of the show. We kind of did a parallel sister show of basically the same story, just from somebody else's perspective, and found that was the best way to tell the story in 20 minutes. But coming to that decision was kind of a bit of a risk, I want to say, because as we presented the idea, until we had it fully written out, I don't know if you remember, but I remember getting some feedback of like, is that the best option? But then it turned out to be the best option.
I was going to ask you, I just was wondering if you could share with everyone here and with everyone joining us through the live stream about the experience that you had in the lobby after your showcase, which was really a thrill, and really I think is just so it's proof of like kind of what distinguishes this process at WDMT at BerkleeNYC.
So this magical
moment that Dan is alluding to, I'll tell it from my perspective, and then Lexi, I'll let you say it. But our portion of the showcase finishes. We're all out in the lobby celebrating, having a good time, and one of Lexi's good friends, as I'm talking, I think I'm talking to Rachel, and one of Lexi's good friends comes over to me and says, I don't know if you noticed, but a woman went up to Lexi and gave her card, and she looked like an agent. And I was jumping up and down, and I immediately bolted over to Lexi and was like, let me see the card. And but we looked it over, we looked to research it, we freaked out because it was an agent. That is now our agent. And so just speaking of those magical experiences of what this program can lead you to, like, here, I'll let you.
So before you take over, I just want to say that it's sort of a remarkable trajectory kind of in the musical theater writing industry to go from like an idea in September to a full-length first draft of a musical in June, and now you also have a high-profile agent. So this is a really exciting trajectory, and I can't think of anywhere else where this sort of thing is happening within like, a 12-month period. It's a real thrill.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason I chose to come here is because BerkleeNYC's musical theater writing program is technology-based in a lot of ways. We get equipped with the equipment on campus as well as the facilities, which are amazing, and we learn how to make really solid demos because, the principle of the thing is we have to pretend the audience or whoever is going to be listening to the things we apply for has no imagination. And we have to make a demo that gets our idea across or something. And so coming here, I went to conservatory for undergrad, like a classical conservatory with no music tech background. And that's the direction I think theater is going these days, more and more technological. So learning about, Ableton and Logic and how to create your orchestration in a way that reflects how you actually want it to sound when it's on stage, having those arrangements ready to go for the presentation itself. And then also afterwards, when we got in touch with the agent, because she gave us her card, we started jumping up and down. We booked a meeting. It was in the Empire State Building. It felt very big moment. We felt like main characters that day, for sure. But we ended up, agreeing to work together after that day. But before that, we had sent her all of our materials, the full score, the full script, and we had really solid demos coming out of here that I think really helped her imagine what we were trying to build, because we only had a live rhythm section, guitar, bass, keys and drums in the room here, and it's a big band-based show. So like Berkeley really helped us, I believe, get our vision across and helped her partner with our vision. And it's cool because now going forward, we're going to be represented as a joint pair and as individuals, which will be really great. To have someone on our side, and we both came straight from academia to the real world, and having that opportunity, because he's 23, I'm 24, so coming straight out of school into the real world and knowing we have that support network from here, and then our agent Amy on our side now, it's super empowering.
I feel like BerkleeNYC really empowered you to cut the line in a lot of ways, and I think you should really, that's a victory. Michelle, I wanted to ask you a few questions about your kind of journey here, how you found BerkleeNYC, specifically WDMT, like what drew you to this program, and how's your experience going so far? Because you're in it now 4 weeks, 3 weeks now. How's it going? And how'd you find us?
Yeah, it's great. So the first time I heard about the program was through a sponsored Instagram story. So whoever's on the marketing team, great job, because I hadn't heard of a program like this. And I was a big musical theater fan growing up. And in high school, I wanted to do performance in undergrad. I didn't see myself represented, so I sort of was discouraged and I did music instead. And when I heard about this program, I just fell in love with the philosophy and the approach. It is very fast-paced by design, and I think if you're looking for a program that is built for you to get out of your own way, this is the program. I came from songwriting and production, for the last however long, and I felt like my strengths would be valued here, and I also felt like my imagination would not be limited. So I so far have experienced just like a immediate community and intimacy of my classmates. I feel like that has allowed us to have big conversations very quickly. And I think that was important to me too, was an environment to which like the classroom culture provided really direct feedback, but all for the hope to tell the best story that we could, so.
That's wonderful. We're so lucky to have you as part of this community. And so thank you, Lexi. Thank you, DJ. Thank you, Michelle, for being here. And I think we're going to round out our time here with a Q&A with the full panel. Is that correct? Yep. Oh, we have a video first. I'm sorry. I was so close to doing this right. There's a wonderful video that you're about to see. Let's hit it.
Siento el calor dentro de mi ser, viaje en silencio a un nuevo rincón, con luces doradas que van pintando el camino, cuido el calor.
Right here in the black box by Damaris, an artist who was here last year in the S&P program, and this was captured and recorded by Loudon and students in his program. Very indicative of the kind of stuff that goes on here. So we want to take your questions. So I'm mentioning that, and then I'm talking a little longer so you can kind of figure out what you want to ask. But what we're really interested in is getting questions from you guys right now. So first off, who has a question? Anybody have a question already? Yeah, okay, right over here.
Hi, my name is Leah.
Hi,
Nice
Leah.
to see you. Thank you for all this amazing information. The program just looks so inspiring and growth-inducing. I'm a singer, performer, songwriter, singer, all of that. I finally stopped being scared of Ableton this year, so I consider myself, I've started learning to write in the DAW and whatnot, so that's been really cool for myself and my artistry and whatnot. So I guess my question is, now I'm at a point I feel I have a lot of great songs, I have a lot of things I want to show to the world, but my content doesn't have polish yet. You know, I'm in the process, I'm demoing and whatnot. So in terms of the application of what you want to see, I was curious about the content there. Are you more focused on a polished presentation, this is everything I am, like more what the industry would be willing to find, or is it just about the songwriting, the production, and the heart behind it, and this is what I can do, and coming to Berkeley NYC can hopefully help me like move into that next step? Just, more about what you really want to see in the application for songwriting and production.
Leah, for songwriting and great question, Leah. And first of all, you sound like the perfect candidate for songwriting and production. That's like literally. The portfolios, you don't feel like you need to be submitting radio-ready songs. We are looking at the production and the songwriting in tandem, but we're also just looking for artists who have a voice and something to say, and we have a very holistic kind of view of how we assess these portfolios. So I would encourage you to, show us where you're at right now and pick what you're most excited about. For the songwriting and production program, I do want to emphasize we really get to about 3 songs. So kind of pick the stuff you really want us to listen to. But you're really welcome to turn in what you're working on, and glad that you're having fun in Ableton Live.
Cool. Okay, we have other questions right here. Yeah, tell us your name and and
Hi,
ask
my
your
name's
question.
Ray, and I was curious if you could talk more about the, I think you used the term crossover moments between the programs. So for instance, I think the songwriting production would be most applicable for me, but when I was hearing the first presentation about, projection mapping and lighting design and et cetera, that sounded interesting too. Just curious how much these are separate programs or what those points of crossover are.
I mean, the whole idea when we decided what programs we were going to have is to get people together who would be able to form cabals or partnerships to where part of why you go to graduate school is to make college buddies, right? And then you go off and conquer the world together. And so the programs are dissolved to really be symbiotic with each other as well. But I guess I'd throw that to you guys. Can you give some examples of
So there are a number of concerts that are designed just to get everyone working together. So at the end of this semester, every single live music production and design student will be teamed up with songwriting and production students to produce their music right on here. We have a concert that takes over 2 nights we call The Lounge, and that is when we produce, the live music production and design students produce all the songwriting and productions songs. So this is like with full tracks that we use from their music, and we get beautiful content made for it. So that's like an amazing collaboration that's built into the curriculum. And then in the beginning of the spring semester, we have a musical theater showcase, which is very similar. It's all the live music production design students working with the music theater students to do an amazing theater production here. And then we have concerts every Friday on campus that are highly collaborative, and so that's always happening. And then we have this core curriculum where everyone has to work together all the time. So it's constant. And the honest thing is we just tend to say yes. That's like our default is yes, And so when there is an idea, when there's something put forward that is the idea for a collaboration or something else, we usually will find a way to make it happen.
I'd love to ask. I'd like to put a die on the spot here, and because I know that you've actually done quite a bit of collaborating. You were a songwriting and production major, but you also did a lot of amazing performances. Talk a little bit about that and the collaboration that went on.
as what Loudon was talking about, the lounge, and then I participate both in the lounge, which is the end of this fall semester, and then the commencement show. So both of the shows that I did are my songs. I produced them, and then when I was gonna perform, you know, the amazing backdrop, you know, sorry for my language, like the whole like LED, like very interactive lighting, and then all like the background visual stuff are created by LED people. And also in terms of musical theater people, I also, when they're doing their, last year there's a, man, what's his name? Okay, a musical theater student. He, you know, we just collaborate on his. I play violin for him, and then also he asked me to critique on his music, because in his musical theater writing, he needs some, you know, songwriting opinions. So that's just the way we collaborate. It's just, you just bump into people, like even in writing rooms, in like, you know, the rehearsal rooms, and then you just started, you know, talking and then talking about each other's projects, and then, you know, something formal, something informal, just collaboration happens all the time.
And you can also, and there's more, you can also team up with other cohorts for your CE. Right. So we had Urvashi was someone in our S&P cohort who teamed up with Maddie and Lucy in LED, and they made this amazing immersive experience that tied lights and sound, and it was incredible. I went to it. And that's just another way. There's also the electives. You can take classes from LED or WDMT or S&P faculty, and that's another way to, yeah.
Other questions? Other questions? Yeah, right here we have a question.
Hi, I'm Lucas. I'm interested in the Songwriting and Production program.
Hi, Lucas.
Hey, Lucas.
Hey, I was just wondering, what do you do to tap into the more acoustic musician talent that's here in the city? Because that's one of the things that I'm really looking for, given that that's where my talents are less developed, I would say, and I'd love to work with live musicians and record them. And so just curious how, as a sort of a new player here in town, how have you been able to form connections so that there actually are musicians that we could actually get involved in our productions?
Really good question. So, you know, we have a really wide breadth of artists in songwriting and production that goes from the more cutting edge pop, hip hop, to the acoustic musicians, and we have a lot of acoustic players and musicians. We do shows at the Cutting Room, which is a really cool venue here in New York, which is not only for acoustic music, but is really well suited for that. And I would say that, you know, you're going to be right at home in that. The Friday concerts are full of people with guitars and acoustic instruments, you know, as well as putting those together with more modern elements, I would say.
Yeah, and we have a really good amount of students in the cohort who are, you know, country musicians or Americana, and we really welcome that. I think what you'll find is that you'll learn techniques to bring that into kind of a modern sound. So Casey Musgraves, you know her? She's a kind of country pop person, but she's a good example of someone who her album is almost totally live, but her risers are electronic, and she's got these like sparkly synths on the top, and her vocals are tuned, and her snares and kicks are sampled, and so it fits into the commercial sort of arena, but you don't really know why. And so that's kind of all the things that you're learning. And you can get, you know, with electives like essential engineering, you can be in Studio G just recording live drums and bass and guitar. And, you know, we had some students who were pretty much their whole EP was live. Yeah.
We have time for maybe one more question. Anybody got it? Yeah, over here, right over here. Perfect.
Hi, my name is Olivier. I'm from Belgium.
And
Hi, Olivier.
yeah, I was just wondering what the expected level of experience is for somebody who's interested in the songwriting and production course. Because I've been like passionate about production and songwriting for like 10 years, but I've never like released an EP or something like that. So I was just wondering, is there like a base level?
Do you mean experience like professional experience or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking to help you build that. So we're much more looking at who you are as an artist and your writing and production abilities and your there's many that have come into the program without ever having released music, and we welcome that.
All right, thanks.
Cool. So I have a real quick question for everybody on stage who was a student. Either is a student now or was a student last year. And maybe just real quick in a sentence or so, I want you each to talk about what were you wondering about at this point in the process before you came? Like when you were getting ready to apply. What were you thinking about? What was your question? What was your main question that you had? And what wound up being the answer to that? And but just really short. But yeah, let's just go on down. Yeah.
I would say at this point in the process of application, I was asking myself, who am I? Which is a big question. But like, how do I show that succinctly? And that's the question I feel like I answered in the application.
Kind of on a similar note, it was like going into WDMT, it was like, how can I solidify how I want to write, what stories I want to tell? How can I solidify that? And thankfully I got that answer.
Similar vein to that. Oh, great, I can hear myself. Awesome. Yeah, similar vein to that, but then adding on, I wanted to be a theater writer. I also wanted to work on my artist project. So I was just thinking, okay, what are those tools that I need to achieve both of those? And, coming from being a jazz major in undergrad, like how do I keep my roots in music, but grow as a performer and as a writer and find my own sound and voice? And so finding the faculty here and the facility has really helped with that.
I was really wondering if there was place for experimentation, because that was a big part of what I'd been doing. And I think there's a lot of, like, when you're looking into this program, it seems like, oh, this needs to be a pop top 40s kind of thing, and it really doesn't have to be. And that was something I discovered through it.
I was wondering, as an SMP applicant, I was like, now I made all these demos coming from acoustic world. I know how to record myself, and then I kind of know how to do like EQ and compression and stuff to make demos. Look at all my demos. Like, I wonder if there's a way to like professionally do them. Is there like a systematic way to, someone help me make this, rough demo into a radio-ready song? So, and then I found my answer throughout the year.
I would like to call Atticus out here. So I don't have students from LMPD that are here, but I just want everyone to know this is a student from mine from last year that's absolutely running this whole stream right now.
Hello.
And I'd like Atticus to answer the same question.
What was the question?
Question was, how far down can you name pi?
Impossible.
I'm just kidding. No. What were you thinking about at this point in the process before you applied? What was the main thing that you were wondering about, and did you find the answer? What was the answer to the question that you might have had? Not to put you on the spot at all.
Yeah, I definitely was. I had been involved in production on the business side of things. I'd done a lot of like business conferences and produced stuff like that, but I had a background in music and I wanted to merge those two worlds. And so I wanted to find a way, and I wanted to find a program, and it was such a unique program. It was just perfect because I was trying to figure out how to put those two worlds together. So I was able to do that here, and I guess I was just trying to figure out if I could, cut it in the music industry on this side of things, and it's been working out. So
turns out you can.
Yeah, it turns out you can.
Thank you.
I just want to give a huge plug for the live music production and design program, because the business is coming back. Recorded music has been going through a lot of challenging times, and things are getting better there too. But what has really exploded, and the pandemic kind of has obscured this because the pandemic shut everything down for 2 years. But the big story in music in terms of being able to make a living and have work was actually live music production. And there's been such a huge revolution in how shows are produced, from the screens that you see here to the lighting to the sound design to all that, people with these skills are in high demand right now. And if you're thinking about how am I going to be able to make a living doing this, live music production and design is just something that's really worth a look. I want to answer a question that happened in the chat quite a bit, and one that we get quite a bit from international students, which is this a STEM program? And it actually is. All three specializations are considered STEM programs: science, technology, engineering, and math, right? Is what STEM stands for?
I believe so.
I believe so. This is a STEM degree. The other thing that I want to mention before we sign off, and I'm actually going to ask one more question of the faculty that we have up here, is that we have some info sessions for each of the programs coming right up. Starting with next week, live music production and design is this Thursday, the 29th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. WDMT is going to be Wednesday, October 5th, also at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And Songwriting and Production is going to be Thursday, October 13th, also at 12. So if you want to, and these are going to be Zooms, so this will be a chance for you to talk directly with the program director, with faculty, and I highly recommend that if you want to get more questions and really want to think about what kind of questions you have and get a lot more personal information and just get a vibe for what's going on, that you consider coming to that. I do want to ask faculty. We have a couple faculty here, Dan and Thavius. I want to ask you guys, how is this program different than what you thought it was going to be coming in when you first started teaching here? How are the students different? How is the program different? How are the outcomes different? Just what has surprised you about this program? And who'd like to go first?
Coin toss? All right, I'll go first.
Go for it.
I'll step out here so I can see everyone. For me, it's been interesting because I've taught so many different places, and I've been teaching for so long. What's really cool about this particular group of just this demographic, people are a little bit further along and a bit more, I guess, sure of the direction they're trying to go in, even though they don't necessarily really know where they're going to end up, right? So I think there's a lot less second guessing, even though people, can be unsure of what they want to do. But I think there's just, there's a bit more maturity and openness, which allows us to explore a bit deeper in terms of what people really want to express and how they feel, So it's not about the technical stuff so much. I mean, it is, but it's more about really just being vulnerable and diving deep and being open. So that's a pretty unique experience for a music program, where it's not just about let's open up Ableton Live and play with clips. It's more what are you going to put in these clips to make somebody really feel what you have to say? So.
For me, I think it was when Julianne McDavis said, "Oh, hey, would you like to, teach musical theater book writing here?" I was thinking, yeah, but you can do that. Can you write a musical in a year? I mean, I was thinking sure you can, but and then in the course of the year that last year, I was like, oh, you definitely can, and this is actually how it should be done. So I think that was sort of the awakening that I had. I was like, oh yeah, I mean, this is really, really concentrated, but it's a great use of not only the resources here, but it's a respectful measure of your time. You can really invest so much, and then you've got this. Michelle, we were just talking about, you've kind of built up this stamina for collaboration and for creation, that when you leave here, you're like zoom, because you got to go back into the world, and you might have a day job or whatever you have to do, and you're like, I can carve out the time. I have this muscle now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So Arun, I want you to answer the same question, but while you're getting the mic, I'll just also, piggybacking off of what you said, I talked to a lot of students who are thinking about, oh, how do I get inspired? Where's my inspiration come from? I tell you where your inspiration comes from. It comes from a deadline. If you have a deadline, you're going to find something. Now, everything you write maybe is not going to be, brilliant, but here is just a fact. This is just a fact. Only 10% of your work is going to be your best 10%. Think about that for a second. Only 10% of your work is going to be the best 10%. So the idea is to write a lot of work, right? Have a lot of work out there so the best 10% is at a really high level. And the only way you do that is with deadlines. And so, that's one of the great things that graduate school can do for you is impose some deadlines. So you're going to get a body of work done in this year, I guarantee you. But Arun, same question.
So I started in the program teaching before I took the director's position. And one of the things I was very surprised about was how truly international the program is. People from all over the world, different styles of music and cultures, and how nurturing everybody is with each other. They really become a family by the end of the program. And I was talking to Marilee about a great quote I heard from Seth Godin, who's a marketing guru that I really admire. And he said, you have to allow yourself to be wrong on the way to being right. And in this program, people are really helping each other create their own path artistically for each other. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, listen, thank all of you guys for being here with us today. And thank you guys here in the audience. We're going to, I think, organize a tour now for the people who are here. I just want to mention one more time the November 1st deadline for early action. I highly recommend doing early action because that sets you ahead down the path, and you also get to know a lot earlier that way as well. So thanks everybody for coming, and
Thanks, everyone.
we will see you later. Bye bye.